how you can get media credentials to film and shoot sporting events. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I'm at my new desk in my new apartment. If you're new here, my name is Gottschalk. I'm a content producer at Major League Baseball, and I come on this channel to talk about sports videography, and I vlog and do various things to give y'all some insight into my life and some tips and tricks into how to get better in the sports industry and how to progress your career in the sports industry as a videographer or photographer. And as I mentioned in this video, I want to talk about how to best get media credentials in 2026 as a content creator. This kind of applies to both photographers and videographers, so it's kind of a blanket video, it's a blanket statement. To preface this, I want to say a few things. First off, before you go reaching out to people and media outlets and other athletes, you're going to want to have some sort of reel or something that you can point to. Now, some people might not care about this, but if you're going to go reaching out and offering, hey, I'll get some content of you at your next game, you're going to want to have something to kind of lean on. Whether that's a website, a few shots on your Instagram, a few photos on your Instagram or Twitter, a YouTube channel, or something like that, you're going to want to have something. And I've talked about in the past how you build portfolios and things like that. And obviously, with these asks and this video itself, I assume that you are trying to build your portfolio too at maybe a bigger sporting event or get in the door somewhere else. But for the most part, you're going to need something, whether that's like shooting high school sports or youth sports or portrait photography, really anything. You're going to have a little bit of a background here, just in case people do ask, or an athlete does ask or inquire. Again, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but you can build your portfolio shooting your local high school team, local middle school teams if you ask, if you're young and you're a peer. Go down to the park. I've had people that reach out to me that literally go down to their local park and shoot the pickup basketball games. Just some ideas there. You're gonna be doing stuff a lot for free. And the other thing that I wanna preface is that these aren't obviously the main ways, the two ways acquire credentials. There's a multitude of ways. In any industry, it's important to network. Let me put that buzzword up there. And the more people you know, it's gonna be easier, right? So there's always ways. If you know an SID or someone who works at a school, there might be other ways than the ones that I talk about in this video, just to preface that. But yeah, let's get into the two main ways of how I think you can go about getting credentials in 2026 for sporting events. So first off is gonna be a more traditional way of acquiring credentials for bigger sporting events, and that is going to be simply applying. So most leagues and teams, sports conferences at the college level will have some sort of website where you can apply for credentials, whether that be before the season, before a game, or before a big tournament. There's going to be websites where you can apply. Now, these websites are going to ask, obviously, your name and your organization, and maybe a few other things such as your reason to be there, your affiliation with that organization, and what you will be doing on site at this game or tournament or whatever. Now, this is a more traditional way. Teams and leagues have had these websites for a long time, right? And they're mainly for like news stations, news outlets to apply for things. And that's kind of what you're going to need to have. You're going to need to have some sort of affiliation with a journalistic outlet or a news station or a YouTube channel or a media channel that you run promoting, let's say, top prospects in basketball. Let's just call it Top Prospects Incorporated. When you apply for that credential, you're gonna put your name down, maybe your email, your organization, and then your affiliation. Like, I'm gonna be shooting this prospect on Georgia National AAU team because we want footage of him and we wanna promote your tournament. And this has been done for a long time, right? So people at Fox 5 News, I'm sure, have been applying for credentials for Braves games before the season for a long time. If you're a small content creator or a small media page looking to build your portfolio and shoot stuff at big sporting events, you're gonna be told no. It's just how it works. But if that's the worst thing that's happening, that's fine. Always be polite, always be kind in your asks. Don't push the limits, especially when you're new, or rather ever. So just keep that stuff in mind. You're gonna be told no. Unless you have a big following or big portfolio or have a connection somewhere, you're most likely gonna be told no. But you never know. If you get told yes to like shoot the Big 12 basketball tournament as just a solo content creator on your Instagram page, like you never know. Not saying that that will happen, sorry Big 12. Just using them as an example. Just be on the lookout for those application sites for media credentials and go ahead and start applying. And the second way I want to talk about in how to acquire media credentials to shoot and film sporting events is to reach out to players and individual athletes. Now, this is a new way of going about it, and you're gonna need some sort of portfolio or reel, of course, like I mentioned earlier, but reaching out to athletes on Instagram and offering them content at one of their games or practices or big events can go a long way. A lot of athletes, even top level athletes, let's say in the NFL and other places, will say yes to this sometimes. How I would go about this is just to reach out to maybe your local star high school athlete, or an athlete that you know is going to college somewhere at a bigger Division I school, someone you might already be friends with, someone you might have friends of friends with, and ask them if you could just give them some free content. If you can just get in the door, go shoot some of their games, their basketball games, football games, volleyball, softball, whatever, just to build that resume, and you get in the door shooting high-level high school sports, showcases, Division I sports, Division II sports, just so you have that portfolio of official sporting events, moving on from like the rec basketball and the high school, the low-level high school sports. These are the types of things that athletes ultimately, in any case, whether it's high school or college or professional, they're always gonna have the power. So if you DM an athlete and you're like, hey, I wanna come shoot your game, I'll make you a 30-second reel and recap of your game. Just using that as an example. If the athlete is very interested and likes content, which nowadays, as opposed to when I started 10 years ago in content, nowadays athletes really like that type of stuff. And if you're coming to shoot the game for free, why not? Like, why wouldn't you say yes if you see that DM? Now, I'm not gonna tell you to like reach out to Justin Jefferson. He's probably not gonna see your DM. You can shoot for the stars if you want, but I would maybe aim a little lower for peers and local athletes that are stars, or local colleges and things like that. But again, like the first example I used, you never really know. Another positive with this approach is that if you develop a friendship with that athlete, a good working relationship, you provide them content, you might get invited back. If they like what you're doing and you're respectful to the people around you in the organization and the league or the team or whatever, they might invite you back to shoot games over and over. And then you're gonna meet people on the sidelines, social people, other content creators, photographers on the sidelines that will help you network. This is how so many content creators that reach out to me get their careers off the ground, and you'd be shocked. And now they're working for the NFL and they have their own production agencies and all things like that. So always reach out to athletes. Shoot for the stars if you really want to. Reaching out to athletes is a great way to get your foot in the door in the sports industry and obtain media credentials to shoot and film sporting events. With that being said, I hope y'all were able to gain some value out of this video. If you have any further questions, definitely comment below. I always try and respond to the comments on YouTube. And then also, in turn, if you want to reach out to me on Instagram at PeteChalk, I try and reply. It might take me a few days, weeks, maybe even a month to reply, because I'm very busy with work and this YouTube channel, but I always try and reply to all of y'all. So thanks for watching. Give this video a like if you haven't, subscribe if you are new here, and I'll see you on the next one.